We begin with operations in an urban setting. The drone checks a blind spot around the corner of a house, instantly detecting a target pressed against the wall. Welcome. Next, we see work in open terrain. First, a strike near a field. Then, an episode on a hill where a soldier attempts to shoot down the drone with a rifle. However, this attempt at active defense does not stop the operator, and the target is successfully incapacitated. This extended footage is a textbook example of battlefield interdiction tactics. We see how a single logistical artery is transformed into a zone of total control, where any movement is detected and halted. The operation develops chronologically, demonstrating a gradation of targets. First, operators detect a low-profile group on foot attempting to pass unnoticed. Next, the priority shifts to high-speed, complex targets. We see the successful interception of a moving motorcycle. This requires the FPV pilot to precisely calculate speed and lead the target. Immediately following, another motorcycle with bulky cargo is struck, which is a direct hit on frontline supply. Two static ATVs are also neutralized. In the second half of the video, the combat dynamics change drastically. The drone attacks an organized column of motorcycles. A precise strike on one of the vehicles while moving causes it to crash and halts the entire group. This is where a critical tactical moment occurs. Other members of the column, attempting to conduct an evacuation and provide aid to the wounded, make a fatal error. They cluster in one spot. Instead of dispersing, they transform themselves into a large, static group target. In search of cover, they move personnel into earthen pits and terrain folds near the road, mistakenly believing the terrain will protect them from overhead observation. However, aerial reconnaissance continuously records these movements. The operators know the exact coordinates of the hiding spots. The finale of the operation is logical. Drones deliver a series of finishing strikes on the two identified concentration points. This demonstrates the full engagement cycle, from stopping the column to the final incapacitation of the manpower attempting to entrench in the area. This episode is a direct continuation of operations against identified positions. We see an infantry group attempting to avoid danger, moving systematically into a camouflaged underground shelter in a wooded area. The servicemen rely on the engineering overhead cover, considering this dugout a reliable protection. However, for the FPV drone operator, this is merely a clearly defined entry point. The apparatus flies precisely inside, bypassing the protective barrier. The consequences of detonation in a confined space are critical. On the objective control footage, we see a shattered roof and a completely destroyed structure. This clearly demonstrates that field fortifications, upon a direct hit inside, become a trap, leading to the complete incapacitation of the personnel. These frames illustrate the methodical, coordinated work of crews operating different types of unmanned systems in a single sector. We observe a complex operation targeting enemy manpower. A characteristic feature of this episode is the disorganization of infantry actions. Under constant aerial pressure, personnel attempt to flee, constantly changing their direction of movement. In a state of stress, the servicemen make critical tactical errors. We see them attempting to use objects as cover that are not even theoretically suitable for this purpose. Sparse bushes, shallow depressions, or debris. This creates only a fatal illusion of safety. Parallel to the work against infantry, drones detect and neutralize vehicles, specifically motorcycles, definitively cutting off opportunities for rapid evacuation. Such operational density and the presence of multiple birds in the air simultaneously leave no blind spots. This is a clear example of how panic and the lack of prepared fortifications in open terrain lead to the complete loss of a unit's combat effectiveness, despite all attempts at survival. This massive, extended episode gives us a rare opportunity to analyze in detail the full cycle of detecting and engaging a mobile group in complex conditions. We observe two motorcycles changing their movement tactics. They leave the dangerous open field zone and enter a dense wooded area, hoping to disappear from the radar. Here, a critical tactical error occurs. The drivers, likely believing that the dense vegetation provides sufficient camouflage protection, decide to make a halt, perhaps to check their route, refuel, or simply for a short rest. However, they fail to consider that for modern reconnaissance assets, the green zone is no longer an obstacle. Drone thermal imaging cameras clearly register the contrast. Heated motorcycle engines and human heat signatures glow brightly even through the dense tree canopy. Next begins the engagement phase. We see the work of a heavy bomber. It hovers over the target and starts methodically dropping munitions, literally taking this position apart. But the feature of this particular segment that makes it unique is the angle of objective control. We have the opportunity to see the bomber's work from the side, through the eyes of another reconnaissance drone hovering nearby. This clearly demonstrates that this is not a chaotic attack, but a complex, multi-level operation. We see drops being adjusted in real time. The scout guides the bomber executes the drop. This lethal coordination guarantees a 100% result. The vehicles and manpower are completely incapacitated, with no chance of escape. However, the operation does not end there. The footage transports us to other locations, demonstrating that this work is of a systematic, continuous nature. We see a long series of night drops on detected shelters, dugouts, and positions in other sectors of the front. Darkness, like the forest in the previous episode, is no longer a guarantee of safety. Operators methodically check every suspicious zone, utilizing the advantage of altitude and night vision technology. This creates an atmosphere of constant pressure. The adversary is exhausted not only physically due to losses, but also psychologically, realizing that hiding is impossible. This is a demonstration of total control over the area of responsibility, where any attempt to entrench, whether under trees by day or in deep trenches by night, leads to inevitable incapacitation. If you enjoyed the video, please like it, subscribe to the channels. Until next time.